Welcome back to the channel. SYLO's stunning new use case, massive partnerships revealed, and is the AIFA carts minigame about to drop? This is into the Futureverse. Now give that like button a bunnies up, and let's get into it. Okay, it's been a few months since my last update, and there's a whole stack to cover, so let's dive right in. Quest 3 has come and gone and has seen the launch of the first marketplace en route. The marketplace called Mark, produced by the Halo Labs team, has been released, and is a multi-chain NFT exchange. And prominent XRP content creator, Crypto Eerie, had the pleasure of purchasing the first FLUF bridged from Ethereum mainnet over to Root. And she purchased it using XRP, bridged across directly from the XRP ledger, in another first for the ecosystem.
The FLUF world for me is where I decided to step into first, and I want to introduce to you Ona Musha. She was the first FLUF world collectible to be bridged from Ethereum to the Root network, paid for in the digital asset XRP. This bridge was achieved by creating a future pass linked to MetaMask, where I seamlessly and easily transferred my XRP to a personal Futureverse wallet. The Root network, with a primary focus on developers, operates independently and has introduced a marketplace known as Mark. What sets this ecosystem apart is its capability to enable the acquisition of collectibles using XRP, with all transactions on the Root network relying on XRP for gas fees.
The marketplace also has some social elements, including user profiles and uploading of user-generated videos. And McDonald's profile has uploaded some alpha, with various leaks of seemingly AI-generated content, and perhaps more significantly, a video of what appears to be an ATEM branded racetrack. Will this make up part of the AIFA carts minigame? Let's wait and see. It remains to be seen if this will utilize ATEM cars, which reveal this month, AIFA All-Stars, or AI League characters, but either way, I'm here for it and I can't wait for it to drop. It also makes me wonder if these videos on Mark are actually being stored using the SYLO protocol with SYLO nodes in the back end. And speaking of SYLO, Quest 4 is now underway, and it's revealed a whole new use case for SYLO. The full details have yet to be made public, but it's a significant development for the ecosystem. The quest itself involves the simple process of changing the hairstyle of your boxer in the TNL locker room. But it's the underlying technology that's really impressive, the asset registry, and some documentation is available in the SYLO Gitbook. The asset registry core allows for the creation of relationships between assets, enabling us to create richer applications and greater interoperability while still adhering to Web3 design principles. Consistency, data transparency. The asset registry supports interesting use cases such as equipping accessories to assets cross-chain, linking a user's metadata to a collectible to show its provenance, managing which collections are compatible with which accessories, and informing applications about what an object does and what engines it's compatible with. Community member Bellevens breaks it all down in an excellent tweet thread which I've linked below, and he summarizes it beautifully. The SYLO Asset Registry is like a magical toolbox that lets all your digital treasures talk to each other and do cool stuff together. Think of it as turning your separate digital toys into an incredible team that can go on adventures across different games, websites, and apps. It's like taking your favorite action figures and giving them superpowers to play in any toy universe you want. In a recent interview with Outlier Ventures CEO Jamie Burke, Shara Senderoff added some more context on the asset registry, and here's what she had to say.
Now, in AI and in just general asset development, rendering, latency, all of the components that go into moving an asset that is high quality, which we now expect from the big MMO video games, from the big movies, we expect to see this level of quality as a consumer. To be able to move that into worlds in the metaverse requires the asset interoperability as much as it requires the underlying blockchain interoperability. And the asset registry is one of the biggest parts of what we're working on behind the scenes that is instrumental and will be instrumental to moving a character asset, an accessory, anything through these worlds. And so I think that speaks a little bit to how much is underneath the hood of the Root network that people don't account for. And if entrepreneurs think that they're going to sit down and be able to just build all this stuff. The roll-up of Futureverse brings together companies that have been working on this for 6 years. So if you're starting now and then you're like, let me build all of these components, you'll never get there because you'll never have the funding to sustain you to be able to do it. And so the Root Network and the Futureverse platform, the goal is for it to ultimately be the rails and the roads of the open metaverse that people can just come to and build and not have to do it all themselves. And there's intricacy upon intricacy of what's underneath the hood and why we're developing those different components.
And Shara also shed some light on how the Futureverse came to be.
Really interesting, compelling ways to communicate directly with fans. And at that time, it kind of led me down the blockchain crypto rabbit hole, no pun intended or pun intended, because when I started to look at the technology that I thought was best fit to reshape a lot of the music industry, it led me right to blockchain. And the idea of digital collectibles becoming the tool with which artists can communicate with their fans and exchange value became like a thesis about 8 years ago that I started to really look at. And that's the sort of short version that then from there propelled me into looking at it for Hollywood and sort of all sorts of ways. And then I ended up teaming up with Scooter Braun about 5.5 years ago and Ripple around the thesis of how do we invest in the infrastructure companies and the technology companies that are going to try to make this a reality. And that vision that I had of how do we find the early entrepreneurs that are doing this, we launched a fund called Raised in Space. And my vision was not dissimilar from what Aaron was doing with his NetX fund on the other side of the world. He was incubating and building. I am just like Aaron, a serial entrepreneur, started a new business left, right, and center to solve a problem. And we kind of were both doing the same thing, investing in these companies, incubating these companies that could potentially create effectively the underlying foundation and infrastructure for what we want the metaverse to be. And so that kind of was how we ended up connecting about, I guess now close to 2.5 years ago around Altered State Machine. I was looking for an AI company that was at the protocol layer working with NFTs and digital collectibles. And they were the only one in the space that I felt like had a vision for how this could actually scale. And so when I got under the hood and started working with David at Altered State Machine, I made an investment from my last fund into ASM. And then I started working really closely with the ASM team. And one day, David was like, you should spend time with Aaron. And when Aaron and I got on the phone, I was like, oh, this is interesting. We have very similar views of the world, have done very similar things career-wise, have a pretty similar understanding or strategic view of how we can make things happen. And we also have a different skill set, which is really valuable in the areas that I touch of branding and partnerships and entertainment. And then Aaron obviously focuses more heavily on product and tech. And it became a clear, very ambitious team that said, let's roll up 11 companies. And not one moment did that scare us. It probably should have in retrospect, but it didn't. And so that was when we said, let's dive head in and try to make our vision of the world a reality.
It's clear that Shara's influence has resulted in the Futureverse partnering with Ripple Labs, and now legendary music producer and A&R Mike Caren, who's joining the Gen Music team. It was a quadruple whammy of significant news around the Futureverse's push into mainstream music creation. First, it was confirmed that the Altered State Machine's patent around saving AI data into NFTs had finally come through. That alone is a unique selling point for the Futureverse. And now we're starting to see how it might come into action with the introduction of the Gen 1 music composer. The Composer is a multi-track music generation tool, allowing users to produce individual stems from text prompts, designed to complement users' uploaded tracks. This could be a massive boon for budding music creators and instrumentalists, and will also help people with no musical background create new, cohesive music. And a second detailed white paper has been dropped, along with the Gen Music Doctrine. The Doctrine outlines key principles around Gen, and it's this ethos that likely attracted Mike and his stable of artists and producers within the APG Artist Partner Group in joining the project.
Changes every 6 months. Every A&R process, marketing process, artist development process just has to change. You know, and that's what keeps the industry, that's what keeps it interesting to be in the industry for a long time, is you're really never repeating it. I mean, you use some tricks a couple times, but you're mostly having to just try new things like BandLab and all these fun apps and AI beat making software. And it's fun how things just evolve and make it fun and to try new things. Everything is about trying new things.
The Doctrine covers 5 key areas: genuine, prioritize transparency regarding our model, its training processes, and the data it utilizes; genetic, architected with industry-compliant genres featuring pioneering licensing framework; generous, equitable compensation framework for creators and rights holders; gentle, AI developers must enact guidelines on the generation of outputs based on copyrights; and genesis, end users must comply with copyright laws and adhere to terms of service. This is a way of protecting IP rights holders and creators alike, and ensuring everyone involved gets their fair slice of the pie. And artists are going to be far more likely to use a platform that protects their interests and rewards them appropriately, which is going to be important as AI music becomes more pervasive. The last bit of major news around Gen is the ongoing partnership with Alibaba and their cloud intelligence group. The Alibaba partnership could run much deeper than just Gen when you consider the amount of compute power that's going to be required going forward in AI gaming and training. Having a ready-to-go cloud partner could be very useful indeed. And it also makes me wonder, could Alibaba cloud services be used to provide resources for non-technical people to run simple SYLO nodes when we all get our chance to deploy our seekers, and to help further decentralize the SYLO network? As part of the partnership, Aaron McDonald had the privileged position of representing the Futureverse at the annual APSARA conference in China, where Aaron got to demonstrate in real time the powers of Gen. Shout out to Sheila, who recorded the live stream at 4 a.m, no less.
Let's go. Let's go.
Next, welcome Aaron McDonald, CEO and co-founder of Futureverse.
Dajo Ho, welcome. Thank you everyone here for inviting me. I'm really excited today to talk a little bit more about Futureverse, who's an AI metaverse unicorn based in Auckland, New Zealand. So come here to your beautiful Hangzhou from our beautiful New Zealand, a long way away, but very excited to be here today. We're here to talk about Gen. Gen is our text-to-music generation product. Gen just launched today, actually, publicly, and we've been working with the team at Ali for a while now to create what we think is the world's leading music AI tool. Gen has been designed to produce high-fidelity music, three-dimensional sound quality, and music samples from Gen that we've released so far have achieved the leading scores versus other popular models on the market. Gen has been built in collaboration with the music industry, and we think that working with copyright owners and producers and publishers and artists will help make better music tools that help them be more creative. To train Gen to become a more potent AI model, Futureverse worked hard to find high-quality training AI infrastructure, and we developed Gen in collaboration with Alibaba Cloud. Alibaba's PAI, Intelligent Computing Cluster, gave us really high-performing computing services for distributed training of Gen, and achieving a 96% linear acceleration ratio, outperforming other cloud services that we tried and tested. At the same time, the PAI platform provides really stable training environment, can automatically detect failures and failing training tasks and recover them in a short time. With this robust platform from Alibaba Cloud, our researchers were able to focus more on the algorithmic applications and innovations and crafting new and unique music generation models and applications that we think will reshape the music industry. And now I'm going to do something that you should never ever do as a presenter and try to do a live demo. So here we have Jen, and as I was coming up here, I thought of a few prompts that might fit the local audience, and we can show some of the range and capability of Jen. Here's some prompts that I prepared earlier. We'll start with something that's pretty simple, a classic type prompt that you might put into any kind of user generator that's out there now. And so we've got a classical music track, 100 BPMs, with clavichord, medieval organ, flutes, harps, and a fancy concert hall. So that does the job, pretty good. Maybe try another one here. All right, those were two pretty good samples, so we might go back and try another prompt now. We'll try and change it up a little bit, and this time start to show some of the range of Jen. So in this prompt, we've got an electronic hip-hop music track, 140 BPM, with synthesizer, electric guitars, drum machines, and for this conference, in the vibe for a geek, for the future, for AI, and for APSARA. The model can understand the context of words, even if they don't apply specifically to music, and start to generate tracks that are inspired from that user's imagination. I could dance to that one. Let's generate a couple more. Try this one here. Maybe later on when we party, we can play this one. And last of all, maybe to, take a little bit of the culture and local vibe of China coming over here. We'll try a melodic EDM music track, 120 BPM, with traditional Chinese music built in. That's pretty cool. So there's our live demo. We survived. Thank you to the tech gods for letting that happen. Thank you for having me up here today, and just want to invite you all tomorrow to my keynote session, where we'll do some more demonstration, explore some more of the product functionalities of Jen. Take note, today we just announced a major collaboration with Caren and the APG to bring on a whole bunch of world-famous producers, musicians, artists, and publishers to help create Jen, and to make Jen, I guess, the future of co-creation with AI in the music industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron.
Aaron McDonald also made his first appearance on the Real Vision platform with an interview with Bennington. It's just the start of the Futureverse's relationship with Real Vision, and in future we can expect to see an interview between Aaron and CEO Raoul, probably when the Root network and its activations are more public facing. The interview is paywalled, but NFT Bro, as he always does, wrote up a great summary, which I've linked in the description below. The Real Vision team then discussed the interview on their daily briefing program. Here's a quick excerpt.
Friends of mine, Dan Tapiera, he invested in Futureverse, and a lot of friends of mine said, hey, listen, you've got to see what these guys are doing. So I got them on Real Vision, and Ash interviewed him. So
yeah, well, the thing that's fantastic is these are people who've been working for a long time in this space. They've worked in tech, they've worked on other sort of big tech waves, so they've seen this before. They're really, really on the front line of everything. And so in Ash's conversation with Aaron McDonald, who, as you mentioned, founder and CEO of Futureverse, he made a really interesting observation about the role that narratives play.
The hype around AI is all about how can we create, use generative tools to create, worlds and characters and art and narratives and interactions with digital things, and make it easier for users to do those things than have ever been possible before. And it's like this complete disconnect between, hey, we're going to create all this awesome new digital content. We're going to enable more and more immersive experiences to be generated by users. But where does that content live? What's going on there? Where's that disconnect? And so this kind of idea that AI can be super successful at creating the opportunity to create more digital content and more digital interactions and more digital humans, but the metaverse is dead, is kind of a silly one. And even beyond that, if we think about what the metaverse is, and our framing of it is, the metaverse is just the internet growing up.
I thought that was such an interesting observation. By the way, that was right out of the gate. That's how good this conversation was. But it makes a lot of sense, right? He's saying, everyone's saying, oh, the metaverse is dead. The metaverse is dead. Long live AI. Can't bang it down the doors to get in AI. But he makes the argument it's hard to be bullish AI and bearish the metaverse, because in some way, shape, or form, that's where all of this is going to have to live. It can't shoehorn in the existing internet. That seemed to make a lot of sense to me. And I really haven't heard that before.
Right, and it does make a lot of sense. And the last few years have just been absolutely golden for realizing that, markets are capable of making people completely lose their minds and just get utterly bound up in emotion and unreason. And that's fine, we're human beings, we all do that. Tech hype cycles also have that power. And we just went through the mother of all hype cycles with the metaverse in 21, 22, and everyone was hugely excited about it. And there was a ton of hype, and look, some of it was a little silly. And now we're just deep in this metaverse winter. And some of that's just as silly too. The idea that the metaverse is just all bullshit, or it's all just going to disappear and there was nothing to it in the first place, is just utterly wrong. Virtual worlds, immersive environments, mixed reality, essentially, as he said, the next evolution of the internet, an internet we can step inside, is a deeply powerful approaching megatrend, and it's going to have huge implications. It will be a part of our shared future. And this point that he's making about the collision of virtual worlds, the metaverse and AI, is so powerful and absolutely right.
During the interview, Aaron also let it slip that the Futureverse has been hoovering up companies, and we can expect to see at least 3 more companies named as part of the Futureverse rollup. I've long suspected one could be Walkerworld, after it was revealed that the Altered State Machine and Futureverse participated in a seed round last year. So maybe Walkerworld will come under the Futureverse umbrella. And Walkerworld themselves continue to leak amazing gameplay footage, and it looks like it might incorporate some elements of tower defense and real-time strategy. Whether these are simply mini-games or part of a more cohesive title remains to be seen, but it sure looks cool. And it's also worth noting that the Walkerworld Women collection with ATEM traits will receive 1 ATEM vehicle, as they reveal later this month. Standard ATEM car holders will also receive 1 car, while elite holders will enjoy 2. The 200 unrevealed ATEM cards, however, will have to wait a little longer, but I'm sure their patience will be well rewarded. And finally, another Born Ready project has been revealed, Sanctum AI. Sanctum provides a secure and fully encrypted desktop application that allows you to run large language models such as Llama without an internet connection. This allows users to run apps like digital assistants without sacrificing privacy. And with Sanctum, you maintain control of all of your data. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!